What up, Mustangs? It's your boy here again, Dr. Beard, with another amazing art lesson coming for you today. But first, I want to address something some of you might be saying to yourselves.
Oh, Doctor, why do we have to watch you again? You're so boring and uninteresting. Why don't you have any new characters? Is this it? Is this all you've got? This guy's not even funny. He's really boring. He's dumb. And he's ugly. And I don't get the thing with the beard.
And then I would say to you, why do you talk like that? That's weird. But here's the deal, coming up with new characters, man, it ain't easy. It's pretty hard. And I tried and I tried to come up with some new characters and I just couldn't. In fact, it went a little something like this.
Yes.
Well, this is my third video, right? And the first video was with Dr. Beard, and that was awesome, right? And then I did a second video with Donald Trump, and that was even more awesome. And now it's like I feel like creatively I'm all out of ideas. I got nothing left.
What about Dab Cat?
Babcat. No. So yeah, anyway, that was strange. Coming up, folks, we got another fantastic art lesson. This one's going to be another two-parter, so you're going to want to hold on to that paperwork when you're done with it. Don't throw it away. Keep it for next time so that we can do the second part of it in the next video. Until then, look forward to seeing y'all again. I love you, and I'll see you next time. Doctor out.
Thank you, Dr. Beard, for that amazing intro, and thank you, boys and girls, for choosing to join me on yet another mandatory art lesson from the Art Basement. So before we get started, you're going to want to gather your art materials for today's lesson. First thing we're going to need is a piece of paper. Just like last time, it could be a piece of printer paper, it could be a piece of notebook paper, whatever you have in the house available for drawing on should be just fine. So you're going to need that piece of paper. You're also going to need a lid of some kind, or like a circle, and you're going to place that on top of the paper. Make sure that the lid itself, or the circle, is about the same size as the piece of paper. You don't want it to go over the edges, but you want it to try to take up as much of that paper as you can. And then, of course, you're going to need a pencil to trace the circle with and to draw the other parts with. And also, if you have something like this, a marker or a pen or something like that, that maybe you can trace over what you draw, you can outline it with, that would also be helpful. All right, friends, here we are. So the first thing you're going to want to do, you're going to want to take that circle. I happened to grab a lid that I found in the kitchen that was the size that I needed. So that's going to work out pretty well. It's not too big. It's not going over the edges. So what I want to do is I want to take that lid, I want to hold it down securely, try to not move it. I want to take my pencil, hold it straight up, trace very carefully around there, around the side, try not to let my circle move, and then end up about where I started. So the next step is going to involve something really important that I forgot to mention, and that is a pair of scissors. So if you have a pair of scissors and you need to go grab those, you're going to take your paper, take your scissors, and cut. Now what you're going to want to do with that piece of paper is you are going to want to take that piece of paper and you're going to want to fold it in half so that it looks like a taco. You're going to fold it taco style. Then you're going to fold it in half again so it looks like a quarter of a circle. And then you're going to want to fold that one more time so that it kind of looks like an ice cream cone by the time you're finished. So if you were counting, we folded it 3 times. So then you're going to take that circle, you're going to unfold it, and you're going to have these nice even folds in it. Kind of looks like a pie with some slices cut into it. All right, so what we're going to want to do for this next part is we're going to consider each of these folds a line that we're going to use to help guide us. Okay, so you'll want to kind of take it one slice at a time. Don't think about the larger picture as a whole right now. Just think about it one piece at a time. So what we're going to do is we are going to create a cityscape picture out of this, believe it or not, and it's going to be something we call a one-point perspective. And what the perspective is going to kind of look like by the time we're finished, and I'll put an image up on the screen, is it's going to look like kind of like we're laying on our back in the city, which I can't imagine why you'd want to do because that would probably be really dangerous and really gross. But just pretend like you're laying on your back in the city and you're kind of looking up at all these really tall buildings that kind of stretch off into the sky. Each of these pie slices is going to be a separate building in the city. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So I want to use these folds as a guide, and I'm going to start right here on the edge, and I'm just going to kind of draw a line. Now, the longer you draw your line will determine how tall your building is going to be. So this is going to be like kind of a medium-sized building right here. And then what I want to do is I want to try to go straight across my slice, my triangle part right here. And I want to go to the other fold, and then I want to use that other fold as a guide for drawing my building. All right, so there's my first building. And then I'm just going to rotate it, and I'm going to do the same thing with each one. Now, what you don't want to do is you don't want every single, just like when you go to Atlanta or another big city, the buildings are not all the same size. They're all different kinds of sizes. So we want to try to do that with our buildings. Some of them can be super tall. Some of them can be maybe a little bit short. And we can kind of change it up and add some variety to our building. So I think my next building is going to be a kind of a short building. So I'm going to actually start right here. I've already got my line drawn because I drew it earlier. So I just have to draw straight across to this other side. And then I have to draw this line right here. So that's it for that building right there. And then I'm going to turn it. I'm going to make this one really tall. Not quite all the way though. I'm going to go straight across, and I'm going to come back down where the fold is on the other side. So that's what we want to try to do. We want to try to have some variety in the size of our buildings. All right, so we had 8 spaces, and now I have 8 different buildings. So what we want to do from here is we want to start maybe adding some details on top of our buildings just so they don't all look like, just kind of boring, blocky looking buildings. So for example, I could make one of my buildings have a domed roof. And for that, I could start right here and just kind of draw a semicircle. This one maybe has a triangular roof. You don't have to add shapes to all of them. My really tall one right here, I'm not going to add anything to it. But you can also add, let's say you want to do layers onto it. Well, what I would suggest you do is make a trapezoid shape. So I'm going to make an angled line like that, go straight across to here, and then draw another one like that. And then if I wanted to, I could add another trapezoid on top, just like that. And then if I wanted to, I could add a triangle on top of that. Or you could kind of mix and match. Maybe do a trapezoid, and then a semicircle, and then maybe there's like an antenna on top of that building. All right, so now I have 8 different buildings in these spaces, and I've got some details added on top of them. Okay, now next up, I'm going to take my Sharpie and I'm going to trace over everything that I just drew. Now remember, if you don't have a Sharpie, not a problem. You could use a pen. If you don't have a pen or a Sharpie, you could use a Crayola marker for this. If you don't have any of those things, then just pencil is fine. I just like to use the Sharpie to kind of help me to see the lines a little bit better. All right, guys, there you are. This is a good place to pause for right now until the second video. When we come back, we'll talk about adding details, adding the windows and the doors. We'll talk about what kind of colors we can use for everything. We'll save that for another video. So if you have kept up and drawn this along with me or finished this part, just hold on to it for next time, and we will work on it then. In the meantime, guys, please keep uploading your artwork from our first assignment onto Canvas. I've had a few people share them so far. I've loved looking at it. I've seen some absolutely gorgeous artwork, and I want to see more. So please continue to share that with me. I've got a Twitter page from McGarity Artist that I'll be sending out the link for soon, so that you can not only see your artwork featured on there, but also see the artwork of students in your class. So hope you guys enjoyed this. We will see you again really soon. We'll be on the lookout on Canvas for part 2 of this assignment. And until then, take care, and I love you guys.